My name is Avesta Mlenje, yet again on my YouTube channel. So I just want to say thank you for those that subscribed, for those that are about to subscribe, and those that are on their way to subscribe. Yes. So last week I was talking about my journey in the NGO sector and what really drove me into joining the NGO sector. So today I just want to share my passion and my experience working with people living with HIV and that. So when I joined Treatment Advocacy in the GC campaign, I was taken through what it's like to work with people that are living positively. And so for me, it was so exciting. It was exciting in that I started as a volunteer, and you know how it is mostly when you're a volunteer, you don't get a stipend, you don't get a salary, and others wouldn't just want that. But for me, it drove me to just wanting to learn what was involved and how I can be relevant in the organization. And so I was mentored by people like Mr. Felix Mwanza. I was mentored by Mr. Clever Chilende, and by then I was also mentored by Mr. Dennis Chiwe, who had to really entrust me with so much for me to be relevant in the organization. And by relevance, I mean as a young person, what change are you bringing? What is it you're bringing to the table? And for me, that is something that really pushed me into being an idealistic person and just wanting to share what I would want to see in the organization and in the nation at large. So fast forward, when I went to Morocco, I was given a role to interview young people that are living positively in Morocco. And some of the changes that I got to see, and something that really moved me, was the rate at which hepatitis B and C was. And for me, I really needed to learn what is hepatitis B, what is hepatitis C. And then for me, that was my stepping stone. You know, mostly we want to focus so much on one angle, but you will realize that there's so many issues that are rising, and we needed to bring change and solutions. And something that I've come to learn is that as a young person, you're not only the one that is bringing problems, you have to be the one that is at the core to bring solutions. And so when we get into these high profile platforms, the adults, or the senior citizens, as we love to call them, want to hear us as young people and the future generation bringing in solutions. And so for me, that was something that I started to stand upon. Whenever you're bringing a problem to the table, have a solution. How would you want them to help you? It's not about you being vocal or emotional about something. So sorry, my daughter is in the background, so hope you understand. Yeah. So for me, that really helped me, not only being a person that wants to bring in the problems, but I also wanted to bring in solutions. So when I came back, I realized that we needed to give the young people a voice. So in most of the community outreaches that we would go to with Mr. Dennis Chewy and so on, I would always ask a question: if you're given an opportunity to lead, what is it that you'd want to do? And you would see that young people are always there to say, I want to bring change, I want to bring change. That is the change that I wanted to see in them. And so fast forward, in 2017, I was given an opportunity to go for Africa Union First Peace Summit, that was looking at giving the young women a voice and a chance to be in Ethiopia, and not only Ethiopia but under the AU, and just getting to learn what really happens. And so when I attended that meeting, for me, it was, at first it was, yeah, I'm going to Ethiopia, yeah, I did. But then when I entered the AU building, it was something that was serious. It needed a woman that is going to change things. And just seeing other young women coming up with solutions, for me, put me in a place where I needed to do more. And just seeing young women that CEOs, presidents, and so on, studying sciences, for me, that really encouraged me to know that we as young women are taking up our role and we're positioning ourselves for a greater tomorrow. And something that I also learned when I was at the AU was how Ubuntu is respected. When I say Ubuntu, for me, it's about standing in the gap, or standing in place of people that really need the change. And And the theme of that year was what the Africa you want to see. What kind of Africa do you want to see? So for me, when I came back home, I started to think of what kind of Africa do I want to see? Do I want to see an Africa that has problems? Do I want to see an Africa that offers solutions? And so I became the Africa that I wanted to see. I began to put in notes on most of the issues that I needed to see change in. And so I would always ask on Facebook, what kind of Africa do you want to see? And for me, something that really touched me was one of the women during the AU Summit, whose name I cannot remember, gave a description of Africa being a blue nation. You know, blue is a representation of love. And so a lot of people standing to just contaminate what is pure. And so if we give people an opportunity to contaminate what we have or what we carry, we become injured to bringing or birthing so much within us. So for me, I needed to be placed at a place where I needed to see a community that is like Africa. And for Africa, Africa is golden. Africa is beautiful. Africa has all that it takes for you and me to stand up and carry the African flag and say, yes, I am African. And for me to be African, I need to ensure that young people in my community, especially adolescent girls and young women, are at par when it comes to adherence, when it comes to their clinical checkups, when it comes to them taking their medicine, and when it comes to them being acquainted with information that they need to know about HIV and AIDS. And to me, this is something that I began to push for. And this is something that I am seeing happening because a lot of young people are rising to see to it that we have youth-friendly services in our hospitals, in our clinics, and young people are walking into our youth-friendly spaces, getting the information they want, going out there and being the voice of the voiceless, standing in to see to it that the Africa we want is HIV free. The Africa we want is an Africa that each and every person is up to their levels of viral load, and being a voice that is going to bring hope and joy to someone who's just been told, no, you're HIV positive. And so for me, this is something that really pushed me into working with adolescent girls and young women that are living positively. Then the other thing that really pushes me when I wake up is seeing how us young women, especially those that are in leadership, want to see change. You know, every morning you wake up, you want to see change happening in your community, change happening in your country, change happening where you are. And it has to take you and me to position ourselves to know why we are doing that, to be authentic with what we are pushing for. You know, mostly people would want to do all sorts of things, and when you look at your plate, you discover that you've not achieved anything. And lastly, it's about making impact. What impact are you making in your society? If people were to talk about you, would they really say you've made impact? What impact have you made to ensure that someone out there is looking up to you as a role model? What impact have you made today that has brought change in your community? I don't know where you come from, but I am a girl who was raised in Chongwe, Kampekete district, and I am so glad that did not describe who I was. But then this young lady from that village is trying to make change for people that are living positively. Remember, if you are not affected, you are infected. And in this month of May, we are celebrating Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to each and every woman out there that is a mother. And I want to make a disclaimer, or I want to make a point out there that being a mother doesn't require you to go into labor. You taking care of someone's child, or just you being a role model or a mother in your Christian spaces in your community, that also defines you and that describes you as a mother. So happy Mother's Day. Bye bye.